Welcome everyone to another top 10. I'm Old School Gamer 1971. Millie, Lloyd, everyone, hope you're all having a great day. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please like, comment and share. Check out my channel and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and puts a big old smile on this old face. Today's top 10 is narrative experiences. This will take a minute, but please bear with me. Years ago, adventure games was only text affairs. My first experience was Eric the Viking for the Amstrad CPC 464. By this time they would have the odd graphical pictures, very simplistic, basic graphics. I tried many of these games, The Hobbit, Red Moon, Leather Goddess of Phobos, to name but a few. My favourites however were the CRL adventures. Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman and Jack the Ripper. These were more adult in nature, the teenage me just lapped them up. With the Amiga 500 and Atari ST we started to get the point and click adventure. Leisure Suit Larry, Simon the Sorcerer, The Secret of Monkey Island. These were not always strong narrative wise, but were more plot heavy than a lot of the games of that time. Also, they are part of our narrative journey we are on. We then started on FMV games, full motion video. They told a story better, but were limited because of CD size. There was also limited game wise. Night Trap, Ripper and Burn Cycle are the ones that I have personally played. They have been receiving a kind of renaissance right now with several on the PlayStation Store, including Bunker, Late Shift and the Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker. The games would be a little corny however. But around this time, the action games were getting stories too. Tomb Raider, Metal Gear Solid and Fade to Black. As well, we got a few point and click adventures. Broken Sword, Discworld and Clock Tower 2 for the original PlayStation. And PlayStation Land stayed that way until the PlayStation 2. Around the end of the PlayStation 2 lifetime, a company called Quantic Dream made a game called Fahrenheit, Indigo Prophecy. It was a different experience. It relied on quick time events and some point and click traits to boot, but told a story. And now we move on to the PlayStation 3. A company called Telltale started to release games such as Sam & Max, The Secret of Monkey Island, Jurassic Park and Back to the Future. But it was when they released The Walking Dead that things took off. This was their most successful game yet. Add to that the success of Heavy Rain for Quantic Dream, and the genre I love was born. It is a pity that Telltale is no more. But we do have Don't Nod, Quantic Dream and Supermassive games. This is a genre that keeps me coming back. I hope Skybound is another name that steps into the genre, as they finished The Walking Dead final season and done an amazing job of it. So here is my top 10 for narrative experiences. My number 10, Tales of the Borderlands, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2014 and was developed by Telltale. You play as two characters, Reese and Fiona, in this game set in the Borderlands universe. Each has their own skill set and is quite a departure in that sense when compared to the other Telltale games. Yet at its core it is the same game we've come to expect in a Telltale game. The characters are well developed, the game has handsome Jack in from the Borderlands 2. Player choices do really affect the game. The story has twists and turns and laughs along the way. It is also an original story set on Pandora. The graphical style is good here, cel shaded just like the game series itself. At the beginning of the game, the two protagonists are kidnapped and questioned. All the while they are bickering. They appear to be only interested in saving their own skin, never seeming to agree on anything. With the game ending on the ship that Reese started off on, the story is well written and the dots are all connected by the end. It is a game that I had hoped will get a sequel one day. Whilst not a long game, it kept my interest throughout, and certainly the ending was worthy of the time I had invested. I didn't see the twists coming at all. My number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2017 and was developed by Telltale. This was a game that I did not have a lot of interest in, so after some coercing from my flatmate, thank you flatmate, I played it, and she was so right, it is such a good game. You play mostly as Star-Lord, and on odd occasions other Guardians, but more often than not Star-Lord. This is its own story and the characterisation is good here. It is more in line with the comics than the movies, but either way would have been good. We start with the Guardians getting a call from Nova Corps, asking them to help with Thanos. After defeating Thanos with a weapon created by Rocket, and running up a huge bar tab, we've all done that, they consider splitting up whilst drinking. They decide to sell Thanos' body, and that is where the shenanigans begin. This game also shows some of the characters' backstories. The soundtrack is also worth a mention. It's licensed music, and some great tracks at that. ELO Living Thing comes to mind. Again, this deserved a sequel. I do see Guardians getting another game, just unfortunately not connected to this one. PS, the comedy in this game is really on point. Number 8, Batman Season 1, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2016 and was developed by Telltale. Telltale Batman, I promise the whole list is not Telltale, is based on Bob Kane and Bill Finger's Batman. It's not connected to any other media. The game is set in Gotham City. Whilst responding to a break-in at City Hall, Batman gets into some fisticuffs with some mercenaries and Catwoman. He takes a hard drive from Catwoman, which was stolen from the mayor's office. With an interesting story involving many characters and villains from the Batman universe, it does have an interesting and involving story. I will admit I did groan a little bit when Telltale Batman was announced, but this game and its sequel are two fine games. Yes, this is the normal Telltale affair, but the characterisation here is bang on, and whether you are Batman or Bruce Wayne, it draws you in, and certainly any fan of Batman will love this, as it makes a change to have a game that isn't just combat centric. My number 7, The Walking Dead Season 1, came to the PlayStation 3 in 2012, PlayStation 4 in 2014 and was developed by Telltale. This is the first chapter in Clementine's story. It is the first season and you play as Lee Everett, a convicted murderer on his way to jail for the murder of his wife's lover. On the way, the police officer loses control of the car and goes over the embankment, and Lee gets a second chance when he happens upon a little girl, Clementine. He takes her under his wing, so to speak. He protects her on a journey to find her parents. Along the way we meet Kenny, Duck and Katia, along with Lily, Carly and Glenn. The characterisation is great and it is all based on the comics. It is a real rollercoaster ride that never really lets up, from a hopeful beginning to a heartbreaking end. Even the last scene has you wondering what becomes of Clementine after the screen fades to black. If you give this a chance, you will not be disappointed. The narrative is good and the characters are amazing. Number 6, The Wolf Among Us Season 1, came to the PlayStation 3 in 2013, PlayStation 4 in 2014 and was developed by Telltale. Look, I promise, it's not all Telltale. This is based on the comic books Fables, where literary and folklore characters have been forced out of their homeland by deadly beings known as the Adversary. They moved to New York City to an area known as Fabletown. For some the move was easy. For the more outlandish looking ones, they require glamour, a spell brewed by witches to look human. Those who can afford it can live among us, those who can't end up on the farm, with characters such as Snow White, the Woodsman, Beauty, Beast, Big Bad Wolf, Tweedledum, Tweedledee, Ariel and Georgie Porgy to name a few. After the move, some of them take on jobs in our world. Bartender, bouncer, club owner, hotel desk attendant, sheriff and prostitute. When murder happens to one of their own, protagonist, Bigby, Big Bad Wolf, must investigate. When the only suspect is one of their own kind, he and Snow White search for answers. To me, this is one of the best stories. It shows such imagination. When you start with a foul-mouthed toad from Wind in the Willows, who is called Sheriff Bigby, to a noise disturbance in the building he is running. The comics ran for 12 years with 150 issues. There is plenty more stories to be told. My number 5, Heavy Rain, came to PlayStation 3 in 2010, PlayStation 4 in 2016 and was developed by Quantic Dream. See, it's not all Telltale. One of the taglines for this game was, "What would you do for love?" This has surpassed every one of my expectations. You play as 4 characters. A father, Ethan Mars, who one of his sons died in a road accident on his 10th birthday. His other son is missing, and Ethan suffers from blackouts ever since the accident. A private investigator, Scott Shelby, who is investigating the origami killer at the request of the victims' families. An FBI profiler, Norman Jaden, is investigating the origami killer also, but is finding the local police department is being a problem. But Jaden's past problems are creeping back up on him. And a journalist, Madison Page, who suffers night terrors and happens upon Ethan at the inn where she sometimes stays when they get really bad. She sees a story here. When Ethan's second son goes missing, he fast becomes the prime suspect. However, he has received a message from the origami killer telling him that if he wants to see his son again, he must follow the instructions. This is an amazing game that draws you in, and once you know who it is, you have to go back to see the different endings. The game's darkest ending beggars belief. It's not just the protagonist and antagonist that have amazing stories, the support roles are also damn good. Everyone has dark secrets in this game, and you don't have to dig too deeply to find them. This is a game that every time I see it, I just want to go back and play it all again. Number 4, Life is Strange Season 1, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2015 and was developed by Don't Nod. This game is Marmite, you either love it or hate it. Unlike Marmite, however, I love this, I hate Marmite. You play as Max Caulfield, who out of nowhere discovers she can rewind time after seeing her friend Chloe murdered. She saves her friend and so starts a week careening towards a storm that will destroy the town, with references to Twin Peaks and other pop culture along the way. It's about 2 teenage girls coming to terms with her ability and her friend's mortality. All the while you see posters about a missing girl, Rachel Amber. Your friend puts them up. With solid characterization, characters to both love and hate, the story is both interesting and heartbreaking. It is also very dark in places. I did not see that last episode coming at all, and I mean the whole episode. With arguably the hardest decisions in gaming, especially the last one. I can also tell you that both Before the Storm and Season 2 are both as enthralling and as well made as this, even though Before the Storm was not made by Don't Nod. My number 3, A Way Out, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2018 and was developed by Hazel Light Studios. This has the most action of any of the games on this list. It's also a cooperative experience only. It's about 2 convicts who join together to escape from prison and then take out a common enemy. Along the way, you will bond over the journey. The journey is a long one and will require you to work together and sometimes have fun together. like wheelchair, wheelies, basketball, challenging one another. You get to meet both families and find out their stories. The characterization is amazing. This is so well written. It can be a little cliched in places, but not that often. To me, it's the interactions between the characters and the working together that really sets this apart as a narrative experience. In fact, as a co-op experience as well. This is a one-of-a-kind game with shooting, fighting and action set pieces. At the same time, it has a strong story that really pulls you in until that ending. Come on then, where's the bloody follow-up? My penultimate entry, Until Dawn, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2015 and was developed by Supermassive Games. This is how I would see a game being if Blumhouse made games. It's a slasher movie, adds some supernatural undertones, an asylum, an isolated house, a snowstorm, and Native American folklore, and you have this game. There are 4 women and 4 men. You can either save them or doom them through your decisions. The options are not always obvious and the deaths always are gruesome. It starts when the twins go missing after one of them is pranked and it goes terribly wrong. A year later and they've still not been found. The twins' brother invites everyone back again to party like porn stars. Rami Malek's words, not mine. With characters to like, some are easy to hate and some are just cannon fodder, but the characters are so well put together, and yes, that does include the cannon fodder. There is a lot of cliche here, but only in as much as the horror tropes. This is such a good game, and tension and atmosphere is all just top notch. Buy it, play it, and then wait for the Man of Medan. I've played it and I can say honestly, expect it to be on so many lists as it trumps this by a mile. And my number 1, Detroit Become Human, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2018 and was developed by Quantic Dream. In the future, we've created robots to do the tasks that we ourselves don't like doing. It's already happening. And then we complain about it. It's also already happening. We start to segregate them from us and yet still continue to use them. An example is buses. They have their own section. They're not allowed into certain buildings. The human race has become both bitter and lazy. They resent what they have created. In this game we have 3 protagonists, a homemaker, Kara, Connor, whose job it is to hunt down rogue robots, and an artist assistant / nurse, Marcus, who becomes the leader of the revolution. This game is about the robots revolting against the creators. Much of this game could be applied to today. It mirrors so much of our history. The stories are amazing. Sometimes it's so hard to side with mankind. Each comes from a different place and each have different experiences of mankind. I feel that they dealt with delicate issues in this game in the right way, making the game impactful and not tasteless. Again, there is loads of different endings, but for me, the first time it gripped me is the bit with the young girl and Kara. You can try and befriend them, but the girl is very standoffish. Kara finds some pictures depicting the robot being hurt and defending the girl, and the robot being broken by the father. At the start of Kara's story we see Kara being picked up, having come back from the repair shop. The father is abrasive to Kara. He lost his job and stays at home all day taking drugs, which makes him violent and paranoid. When he grabs the girl, it had me at this point. This game is totally unforgettable. And it's done. I hope you all enjoyed this top 10. There is plenty more content like this on my channel. Check it out, and if you would, spread the word. Enjoy your day one and all. Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.